Hello all, welcome back to a new post today, and let's discuss something related to the internal security issue. And very recently you must have heard about a tripartite agreement between the centre, the Assam government and a Dimasa National Liberation Army, which is an insurgent group. So they have signed an agreement to shun violence and now move on the path of peace and also to join the mainstream civil society. So they will be abjuring violence, and this our Home Minister Amit Shah said was a step against towards insurgent-free Northeast India. So let's look at what was this agreement all about, and does this mean an end to insurgency in the Northeast? What is the situation of insurgency in the Northeast as such? Let's have a quick review of this today. So this group called as the Dimasa National Liberation Army, or the DNLA, signed an agreement with the centre and the Assam, and it's an insurgent group. The Union Home Minister stated that this development marks the end of tribal insurgency in the state of Assam and not the whole of Northeast. Now this Liberation Army is a new insurgent group that was just formed in 2019, and it operated in Assam's Dima, Hassau and Karbi and Long districts, and at the time of its operation itself, it had said that it was fighting for the liberation of a sovereign independent Dimasa nation. So that's what they want. They want a Dimasa nation. Now, according to the Memorandum of Settlement that was signed between the group, the centre and the Assam government, they have agreed to abjure violence, and the centre and the state will provide a package for rehabilitation and infrastructure development, almost like 500 crore each from the centre and the state for 5 years period. Adequate funds will be provided for the activities of the Dimasa people residing outside the jurisdiction of the North Kachar Autonomous Hills. So insurgency has been there always in the Northeast and some parts of Eastern India, and also in the West, such as Punjab, and we can see it in Jammu and Kashmir as well. What does insurgency actually mean? Now, insurgency is a violent attempt to oppose the country's government carried out by the citizens of that country itself. Now, these may be due to various reasons like history, backwardness, demand for more autonomy, racial discrimination and neglect, etc. So these can be the causes of insurgency. Insurgency is not same as terrorism. So let me tell you that insurgency has been a focus, or especially the internal security challenge in Northeast has been one of strong insurgency. This is because of the high amount of tribal population in this area and various demands for autonomy and independence from this region. Let's have a quick roundup of this. Now, you might be knowing that the Northeast of India comprises the 8 states like Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim and Tripura, and these have a very distinct history from the mainland, from the other Indian states as well as the territories, and also they have a very distinct identity which is mostly tribal and ethnic composition. Now, the region also shares its borders with Bhutan, China, Myanmar and Bangladesh. So anything which happens there as a fallout in this region as well, and this has been recently seen with regard to the Bangladeshi issue from infiltration of the tribals into Mizoram, and also the Rohingya issue, which had a fallout in the neighboring states of Tripura, Mizoram, etc. So this region is very sensitive because of its close borders and also the tribal and ethnic composition. Now, since 1947, the history of this region has been marred with insurgency and underdevelopment. So there's a problem of illegal migration, foreign infiltration, autonomy, independence, neglect, backwardness, and more independence and democracy with regard to ethnic or tribal rights. So insurgency in India involves multiple armed separatist factions operating in some of India's northeast as well as in the states of Punjab and J&K, as I remind you. Let's take a quick roundup and look at what exactly the insurgency looks like in the northeastern states of the 8 states of the northeast, and also let's see what are the individual demands actually of these insurgents, so that you get a better idea of what is the reason of the insurgency in India, which is a main threat. Even our Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister, said that it is a main threat to internal security of the nation. and the Ministry of Home Affairs with the northeastern states has been working all along with regard to, and has also come through with many agreements. We'll take a roundup of that too as well. So let's go to the first state, that's Mizoram. Now the tensions in Mizoram are largely due to the Assamese domination and neglect of the Mizo people. So in 1986 there was a Mizo Accord which ended the main secessionist movement led by the Mizo National Front, and it brought peace to the region. Insurgent status is classified as partially active in this region due to the secessionist and the autonomy demands by the Chakmas and the Brus and the Chakma and the Riang tribes that complain of ethnic and religious persecution. They say that the dominant Mizo ethnic group, which is mostly entirely Christian, they want to convert the other tribals to Christianity, which they oppose. Coming to Manipur. Now Manipur became a part of the Indian Union in 1949 October. Manipur's incorporation into the Indian state led to the formation of a number of insurgent groups seeking the creation of an independent state within the border of Manipur itself and dismissing its merger with India, calling it involuntarily and non-supportive. Now, despite the fact of Manipur becoming a separate state of the Indian Union in 1972, the insurgency still continued and many areas have been described as disturbed under the Armed Forces Special Powers Act as well. The central government has been making a lot of efforts to end the insurgency and violence in this region, and several efforts have also been made for overall development in this region as well. However, because of the close borders to other northeastern states, the insurgency movement in other states like Assam, Nagaland have a fallout in the Manipur region as well. Nagaland now was created in 1963 as the 16th state of the Indian Union, which was actually a district of the Assam. The active Naga Kuki insurgent group mainly demand full independence. Now there is a Naga National Council that was led by Fizo, and it is the first group to dissent in 1947, and 1956 it went underground. Now the National Socialist Council of Nagaland was formed in 1980 to establish a greater Nagaland encompassing many places of Manipur, Nagaland and the North Kachar Hills as well. The National Socialist Council of Nagaland then split in 1988 into two groups, the Isaac Muvia group and the Kaplang group. So as of 2015, both the groups have observed ceasefire truce with the Indian government. Coming to Tripura, the insurgent groups in Tripura emerged now lately in the 1970s. Ethnic tensions between the perceived Bangladeshi infiltration, so Tripura is very close and shares a border with Bangladesh, and the native tribal population were actually outnumbered because of the infiltration from Bangladesh and hailing from other parts of India as well and nearby Bangladesh, which resulted into them being reduced to a minority status and also threatening them economically, socially and culturally. And this has resulted in a clarion call for safeguarding the tribal rights and cultures of Tripura. The first militant outfit in Tripura is the Tripura National Volunteers that became active in 1988, and all the Tripura Tiger Force was formed by the local tribal aborigines in 1990. Their sole aim now is expulsion of all the Bangladeshi infiltrators and the illegal migrants to nearby Bangladesh, and they get a chance to stay in their own place. Coming to Assam, there are many groups in Assam, let me tell you. So Assam has been a refuge for militants for a number of years. That's because of its porous borders with Bangladesh and Bhutan, and also very close proximity to Burma, and also because of the fallout of whatever happens in the neighboring states of Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, etc., as well as Arunachal Pradesh. Now the main causes of friction include anti-foreign agitation in 1980s and also simmering indigenous migrant tensions. So let's look at the various insurgent groups and what do they demand. Now Bodoland is being demanded in Assam. So there is an organization called as the Bodoland Liberation Tigers Force that is fighting for autonomy of Bodoland along the National Democratic Force of Bodoland, and there is another armed struggle with the United Liberation Front of Assam, which was formed in 1979, and it wants to establish a sovereign independent state from India, that is the state of Assam, for the indigenous people of Assam, that too through an armed struggle. The objective of another organization, that is KLO, Kamtapur Liberation Organization, is to carve a separate Kamtapur nation, and the proposed state will comprise 6 districts of West Bengal, 4 contiguous districts of Assam, which include the Cooch Behar, the Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri, North and South Dinajpur, Malda of West Bengal, and 4 contiguous districts of Assam, that is the Kokrajhar, Bongaigaon, Dhubri and Golpara. The next most important militant group in Assam is the Karbi Longri North Kachar Liberation Front, which is a militant group operating in Karbi, Anlong and Dima Hasao districts of Assam, that was formed in 2004. Now this militant outfit claims to fight for the cause of the Karbi tribes and has declared that they want that the objective is the Hemprik Hangtim. It means self-rule or self-determination of the Karbi people. The other most important organization in Assam itself is the Dimasa National Security Force, with which we recently had a tripartite agreement. The objective is now to create a Dimaraji nation for the Dimasa people in the Dimasa Hasao only. However, the objective of the group is also to include parts of Kachar, Karbi, Anlong and the Nagaon districts of Assam and the sections of Dimapur district in Nagaland, where the Dimasa tribal have actually been found. Another most important group in Assam is the Muslim United Liberation Tigers of Assam, or MULTA, which it seeks to establish an Islamic state in India under the Sharia law, and the group comprises the insurgents and the indigenous people who actually practiced Islam. The other most important is the MAR, People's Democratic Convention for Democracy. It is an armed insurgents group that was formed in 1995, and it is to create an independent state of the MAR state in Northeast. And the last one is for Thaniland by the National Liberation Council of Thaniland, which is active along the Assam and the Arunachal Pradesh border. And its members belong to the Thani group of people, which are demanding a Thani land, and the Thani group are one of the ethnic groups in northeastern India known as the Missing in Assam, Adi, Nishi, Galo, Apatani, Tangin in Arunachal Pradesh, and in India as well as Loba in China, who live all along the frontier of India. Now, this is with regard to all the insurgent groups and what are the demands with the Northeast, the main hotbed of insurgency in India. Recently, the government has been signing a number of agreements to bring peace in the Northeast, and let us have a quick review of few of them. The first one is the Bodo Accord. Now, the Bodo and the other tribes of Assam called for a separate Uday Anchal, and in the late 1950s, they were demanding for a separate Bodo land and for Assam to be divided into 50-50 to resolve the 5-decade-old Bodo issue in Assam. The Bodo Accord was signed in January 2020. And with this accord, they have the 1,615 cadres have surrendered a huge cache of arms and ammunition in Guwahati. The another one is the Bru-Riang Agreement. Due to the ethnic violence in western Mizoram in 1997, a large number of minorities, that is the Bru and the Riang families, migrated to Tripura. A landmark agreement now was signed in 2020 to resolve the 23-year-old Bru-Riang refugee crisis, and now they have been settled in Tripura. The other one is with the National Liberation Front of Tripura, and an agreement was signed with the National Liberation Front of Tripura in 2019, where they surrendered arms and weapons. The Karbi Analog Agreement is another most important agreement which was signed. It was the Karbis are a major ethnic group in Assam, and they have been marked by killings, ethnic violence, abductions, etc. To resolve the long dispute of the Karbi region of Assam, the Karbi Analog Agreement was signed in September 2021, with more than 1,000 armed cadres now deciding to renounce violence and joining the mainstream society. And the most recent is the Meghalaya-Assam Interstate Boundary Agreement. So the landmark agreement was signed very recently in 2022 in March to settle the dispute, which is over 6 areas of the total of 12 areas of the interstate boundary between Assam and Meghalaya, and this agreement involved 65% of the border dispute between the two states. So these are some of the agreements that have been signed, along with the very recent agreement between Assam and Meghalaya, and also now the Dimasa group tripartite agreement between the centre and Assam. With all this coming in mind, and with the centre's goal to improve security situation, economic development, making Assam the economic hub, we have spoke for how Assam has now the first All India Institute of Medical Sciences, a lot of infrastructure projects coming up. Assam and the northeastern states are an important part part of the Act East policy and many more development projects taken up by the centre, there is hope that this region will be really peaceful with regard to internal security, and insurgency will definitely come to an end. So I hope this information was really helpful to you to build upon, and if you did, do like, share, subscribe, and I shall see you in my next post. Very happy learning.